But, you know, I have to say that I am so blessed and so honored to be here and to be able to share my story and talk about my beginnings and how I was able to really see my dreams become a reality. Growing up in East St. Louis, Illinois, and all I really wanted to do was to make my parents proud. And I didn't know I was blessed with this athletic gift that will allow me to eventually travel the world and do some outstanding things in my sport. My mom only cared about me getting an education and eventually getting a job, because she didn't have a clue when it came to athletics. She didn't care about me running. All she wanted me to do is to make sure that I came home before the street lights came on, and that I had my homework done, and that my room was clean. So me and my two sisters, you know, we would always try to work together. Me being the oldest girl, you know, I would have to sometimes give them a little bit of my lunch money, even though it might have only been 15 cents at the time. But if I gave them a nickel apiece, then one would clean my room, one would wash the dishes, and then I can go and be able to do my sports. So I tried to figure out a way how I was going to be able to do this. And I was very fortunate to be introduced to athletics through a community center. And it was people in that community center that really taught me a lot about volunteering, going into the library, being able to check out a book, being able to do a book report. And those individuals over there became a part of my extended family. And from there, because I didn't really know my grandparents, and they had a senior citizen program called Meals on Wheels. And a lot of times I would find myself in the arts and craft room working with the senior citizens. And they would always put their wisdom on me and be telling me different things. And I didn't quite understand what they were trying to relate to me at that time. But as I continued to develop and continue to grow, I felt that those individuals, those seniors, really were like my grandparents, almost like my parents, because I saw them every day when I went over to that center. And it was my mom who said to me that she doesn't know what I'm doing out on the athletic field. She wanted me to read the newspaper. I was like, really? Okay, I'm gonna read the newspaper. But not only did I have to read the newspaper, I had to tell her what I was reading. And the reason my mother was extremely tough on me is because her and my dad had us as teenagers. And myself being the oldest girl, I was always told when I was growing up, by the time I was 14, I was going to be pregnant, and I wasn't going to amount to anything. But in my mindset, I always had goals. I always had dreams. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew whatever I was going to accomplish, I was going to make my mom proud, because my mother struggled day in and day out. My mother wasn't fortunate enough to graduate from junior high school, because she had us when she was in junior high school. And my mother gave me so much strength, so much wisdom. She taught me a lot about life. When I was teasing or when I didn't want to hear, it was the things that she taught me at a very young age that I had to reflect on as I continued to develop and continue to grow. And as I became an outstanding athlete, I would share with my mom about the things that I wanted to do athletically. I thought maybe I could go to the Olympics, I told her. I said the coaches told us to watch the Olympics on television. And I said that I think, you know, one day I'm going to be able to do that because I want to be on TV. You know, I said, I think I can get on TV by going to the Olympics. And my mom was like, yeah, keep reading them books, keep working hard. You know, I don't want to hear that. But my coaches said that I had the potential, that I had to be willing to work hard. And in working hard, to me, I thought I was working hard. But then I realized that from my junior Olympic competitions that I wasn't one of the best girls. I was not one of the best. My first race, I finished last. And I said to myself that, wow, if I want to do this, I can't be finishing last. And so, you know, I said to myself that if I can improve 1/10 of a second, if I'm running, or 1/2 of an inch, if I'm jumping, then that meant that the work that I was doing was starting to pay off. So in doing that, I saw my times getting better. But then I realized that 1 through 3 stood on the podium. 4 through 8 was always on the grass. And I was always on the grass. And I got tired of looking up at the people on the podium. And I said, I want to get on the podium. So eventually I went from last place to 6th place, eventually 4th place, and then eventually when I tasted standing on that podium, it felt good to be in 3rd position, but wow, I said, no, 3rd is not good enough. I want to be on the top. And I started setting my sights on being on the top 3, because the top 3 would make any national team, any Olympic team, or any team that's going to represent the USA. So my senior year, I had an opportunity to go to the Olympic trials in Eugene, Oregon. And I didn't know what to expect. I was right out of high school. Well, I was still in high school, and I was like, wow. I went to those Olympic trials, and I competed in the long jump, which is one of the events that I do, is what you hit the board, and I call it you jump into the sandbox. For those of you that's not familiar with it, that's the long jump. And I finished 8th. But what I remember about going to those Olympic trials was a man by the name of Brooks Johnson. He used to be the Stanford coach. And he came to me and he whispered in my ear that the Lord works in mysterious ways. And I didn't know him, and I didn't know why he said that to me. Like, thank you, sir. That's what I did, because I was taught to be respectful. And I told my high school coach, and he told me, you know who that is that just spoke to you? I said, no, I don't. He said, he's one of the greatest coaches in our sport. And I said, oh, I remember, because he called me because he was trying to recruit me to come to Stanford. And I really didn't even know a whole lot about the state of California. All I knew is that California was nice, beautiful, and warm, and he let me know Northern California get a little cooler than Southern California. I'm like, oh, okay. But I think I want to go to Southern California, where the warm weather is. But anyway, as I continue on my journey, and 4 years later, after receiving a scholarship to UCLA and having an opportunity to compete in different world championships, and my hopes was trying to make an Olympic team, and I had my first opportunity in 1984 to make my first Olympic team. And in making my first Olympic team, at our Olympic trials, I had set our national record. I was doing extremely well, and then all of a sudden, you know, with the Eastern Bloc countries boycotting the Summer Games because of what had happened in 1980, that I was picked to win the gold medal at these Olympic Games. So in 1984, after having a great Olympic trials, going into the Olympic Games, probably about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks out from the Games, I ended up straining my hamstring muscle. At the time, I thought it was a pull muscle. And I had never been injured before. I could always ask my body to do what I wanted it to do, or respond in the way that I wanted it to respond. And as I'm working with my physical therapist and my coach, and they're all telling me everything is going to be okay, but in my heart and in my mind, I didn't believe it, because I wasn't used to looking down at my leg being black and blue when they're saying that it's okay, and the muscle is not a muscle in a place where a muscle shouldn't be because it's swollen. And I'm saying that, no, something is wrong. And they're saying, no, it's okay. It can't be okay. It's black and blue. You telling me it's okay? All they wanted me to do was focus on what I need to focus on. But being young and somewhat naive, I was so caught up into a pain that really wasn't there. And as I went to the Olympic Games, and at the start line of the 100-meter hurdles, the first event in the heptathlon, I went there anticipating a pain that would never come. As I blast out of the blocks, the first 3 hurdles, everything is going according to the plan. But in my mind, my leg is heavily bandaged. Something is wrong. And as I attack 4, 5, and 6 hurdle, still doing well. And as I come through 7, 8, 9, 10, cross the finish line, looking for a pain that wasn't there. My attitude continued on to go into the high jump, the second event. My left leg is the leg that's heavily bandaged. That's my takeoff leg in the high jump. And as I approach the high jump bar, I'm looking for that grabbing sensation. It's not there. Same attitude with the shot put. It weighs 4 kilos, about 9 pounds. I got to toss that with all my might. And as I'm trying to toss it, as I'm trying to throw it, it's going, but I'm looking for a pain. It's not there. The last event on the first day, the 200 meters, as I approach the start blocks, and as I get into the blocks, I kick my legs out, I stretch them, I get in there, the gun goes off, I come around the curve, I'm running well, but I'm still searching and looking for a pain. That's not there. The next day, prior to the next day, my physical therapist, my coach, rub down, ice, we do everything, and I'm like, oh, probably should be ice in my brain because, something is not right. I just know it's not right, but I'm trying to go with the plan and not realizing that I'm putting myself in a position of disbelief. I'm doubting everything that I have trained for and all the people who believed in me. The second day, the long jump, which is my favorite event. I feel no pain, I'm looking for no pain, all I'm looking is to jump far. And as I approach the board, and I attack the board, and I come down the 8-inch board, I wear a size 10, red flag goes up, mean no mark because 2 inches or whatever over the board. I need another mark. Again, I come down, try to attack it, I hit the board, same results. Now I'm scrambling because I need to continue this competition to be in the hunt for any type of medal, is that I need to get a legal mark in. And so I make sure that I safely get a jump in. I end up jumping 2 feet behind the board. It's a legal mark, 20 feet, 8 something, and I'm devastated. And my coach at the time, who eventually became my husband later on, Bob Kersey, but he was the coach at the time. Personality hasn't changed. Hadn't changed then, hadn't changed now. Come leaping out the stadium. What are you doing? You need to focus. The heptathlon is the makeup of 7 events, not 1. I wasn't trying to hear that, because I'm over in the corner crying because it's my favorite event. Everything's supposed to go right now because this is the event that I want to do well in, I'm looking to do well in, but it didn't go according to the plan. So I throw the javelin, and as I'm getting ready to throw the javelin, which is not one of my, if you could tell in my voice, I don't really like the javelin, but I got to throw it in order to continue on. And as I glide across and I toss, throw, it goes, it lands, and it probably was a decent mark, but I'm still upset because of the long jump. And so I'm still in a great position to win the gold in the heptathlon. I know that now, but I didn't know that then. So, as they line us up for the last event, the 800 meters, 2 laps around. You think I don't like the javelin, so you can imagine how I feel about this 800 meters. My face says it all. My lips are dragging the track, It's like my mind is like, what is going on? And I got to get up. I got to get ready. I got to attack this event. And as I'm lining up, the announcer is announcing that my brother, Al Joyner, had just won the gold medal in the triple jump. And I'm so happy for my brother. And I'm like, okay, you think that would boost me and give me some motivation? I thought it did, but as the gun goes off, I come around the first lap, and on the second lap, on the back stretch, my brother is still over there, and he's trying to cheer me on. He's pumping his arm. He's saying, come on, Jackie, come on. I was so exhausted, so tired. I wish I had a wig. I would have put it on him and asked him to exchange places because we look so much alike. But, you know, that wasn't going to happen. So as I come through the 600-meter mark and the 700 and then finish up, I knew in my heart that I hadn't won. I knew the young lady from Australia, Glennis Nunn, had won the gold. And as my brother ran over to me, and we embraced one another, and I was crying. And he was saying, don't cry, Jackie, you still did good. I said, no, I'm not crying because of that. I'm crying because no one picked you to win. No one. And you surprised them all, and you won the gold. You know, this is the story we dreamed about. Remember, we told Mama we were going to go to the Olympics. And she told us that if we made it, she was going to catch the bus. But that was our own laughter, my brother and I. So as I finished the heptathlon, and I hugged my brother, and I remember embracing Glennis Nunn, and I said to her, congratulations. And she was saying to me, no, you won. I said, no, I know I didn't win. You know, it's one thing about me. I know the time, I know the distance, I know what I had to do. And I know throughout the two-day competition, I didn't do anything that I had been prepared to do. And I told my brother that when I go into this press conference, I'm not going to allow them to let my imaginary injuries be used as an excuse. Because physically, I have the gift to do this, but mentally, I wasn't prepared. And if I'm blessed to make another Olympic team, I want to be the toughest athlete out there mentally. And the reason I share this story is because when you're working with people, it's one thing to have a dream. It's one thing to want something. But most of the time, that individual must want it more than you. And for me, my coaches and everyone else, even though I dreamed about it, and I said that's what I wanted to do, but they wanted it more than me. And I couldn't allow that to continue because I don't know if God is going to bless me with another opportunity to make an Olympic team. We always thought that we would be able to share this story with our mom being there. But when I was a freshman, my mom passed away. And she had the worst form of meningitis. She was bleeding from every organ in her body. And I appreciate an organization like the YWCA because my mom didn't have a place to go. When I was a senior in high school, I wasn't able to see my mother. When I got ready to go off to college, my mother couldn't see me off because her and my dad didn't get along. And my dad would do mean things that would cause my mom to be frightened for us. So when I left off to school in that September, the next time I saw my mother was on the deathbed because she was quarantined, because they didn't know the disease, where the disease had come from, and it was highly contagious. So I didn't get an opportunity to hug her. And so I say to someone like Lakeisha, it's great having the YWCA. It's great having each and every one of you sit in these seats and embrace their mission because empowering women is so important. My mother gave me the strength to fight the battles that I didn't know I would eventually have to fight. Athletics is only a small portion of it. Athletic is a gift. It allowed me to fall in love with something that I didn't know I had the ability to do. But it also brings hurt to you sometimes. It can break your heart. But in breaking my heart, it taught me life lessons to be able to deal with the challenges and not let the challenges get the best of me. So for the why, what you do, the young women, the young girls, the lives that you impact, when we're talking about empowering women, eliminating racism, it starts with each and every one of us because each and every one of us has a story, has a voice. There are many Lakeishas out there. There are many Mary Ruth Joyners out there. But Mary Ruth Joyner can never tell her story. But as long as I'm willing and I'm able, I am going to be her voice, because she's given me strength that I didn't know that I had. And to know that in order to succeed in life, it's not all your successes, it's learning from your failures. That's why the 1984 is so important to me, the 1984 Olympic Games. Because if I stood there and allowed people to tell me that, oh, it was going to be okay, no, that cycle would continue. So for me, trying to be the best that I could be is really just being a great human being. Athletics, I love, I enjoy. But being a great spirit, a sound mind, person, means more to me than anything in the world. Because I sat on my mom's lap, and we laughed and we joked. And I didn't know, that Olympic Games would be across the waters. When she said she was going to catch the bus, I said, okay. Maybe from East St. Louis to Los Angeles it would work, but not from East St. Louis to Seoul, Korea, let alone Barcelona, Spain, maybe to Atlanta, Georgia. But when it's all said and done, I am so grateful, and I am so blessed. And it is amazing, because when I spoke with the people the other day about the YWCA and about their mission and about their work and about their services, I didn't quite know that those services existed, because a lot of times, because of the color of our skin or because of who we are, they're not available. And what you're doing in Silicon Valley is amazing. And each and every one of you that's sitting out here, your stories, your support is amazing to allow them to continue on their journey. And as I finish up by saying that if we give the world the best we have, the best will come back to us. And the best is in each and every one of us. And remember, that you share shall multiply, and that you hold back on shall diminish. Thank you.